Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to do is that I want to take a look at sort of the Cinderella models of Audemars Piguet. So much of Audemars Piguet is Royal Oak or Royal Oak overseas that the other models are virtually ignored in just about every way possible. So I thought, well, maybe we can find some watches here that, one, I'm always looking for a good price on a watch, and two, something that you may not have thought of before. So I thought, well, we'll take a look at these three models. One's called the Millenary. That's what we're going to look at first. And the second one is called the Jules Audemars, and the third one is called the Edward Piguet. Edward Piguets are no longer made. The other two still are. Okay, I want to start off looking at the Millenary. This is for the men's model, and it's $24,500. It's a 47 millimeter. This one is in stainless steel. Now, the interesting thing about the Millenary is that when you hear 47 millimeters wide, you're thinking, wow, that's really wide. But they're sort of an oblong-shaped oval. And so it's to me, it's a very interesting watch. Notice also that the caliber 4101, this is the automatic, matches that oblong shape, and so this is this I thought was a very, very cool thing, finding a watch with the matching movement in this kind of shape. Now the women's Millenary, there's a lot more models for the women. This is something I think that was viewed as more of something for women, or it sort of emerged that way. The men's version are for a definite dress watch. The women's versions have a little more variation. Now, the thing I like about the women's version, the caliber 5201, is that they're wind up. I much prefer a hand wind movement. That's just me. And in the back, you can see through the exhibition window in the back, you can see this. It's just gorgeous. Another thing I like about the wind up is that they don't have a rotor to get in the way of looking at the movement, which is, so you can see more of it, and you can see it in that exhibition window. Now this one, they're very pricey. This particular one in frosted gold with the opal dial is $53,000. That's pretty expensive for any watch. They're 39.5 millimeters. Again, now that may sound big for a woman's watch, but remember that the width is much longer than the height, and so you have a shorter height to these watches. All right, so let's see where we can go find something that's more affordable. Now, what I found is called the Reference 15016 ST, and I found one for $35.73, and it has that shape to it, but when you open up the case, the caliber 2140, which is an automatic, doesn't have the same shape as the case. It's 2140 is a fairly standard Audemars Piguet movement, and so some of them have the shape movement, the case shape movement. Others don't. This is one of the older ones. They no longer make these, but it's a really neat watch to find if you want to find something at high horology and you want to find something that is affordable. Okay, this is Holy Trinity affordable. $5,300 isn't bad. They range in price from about, this particular model, when you can find them, they range in price from about, this was the lowest I found, up to $4,700. Remember, that's before negotiations. Okay, one of the things too, this one is a 4 hertz, 28,800, and the woman's model is a 3 hertz, and the men's model is also a 4 hertz. Their automatics are. All right, so let's take a look at another model that they have, and this is called the Audemars Piguet Jules Audemars. Now, the Jules Audemars is sort of like, the way I look at it, is sort of their Calatrava or Patrimony. And to me, it's just a beautiful watch. It really is. This particular one is in 39 millimeters. They have some smaller ones that for women, I think they may also even have them in quartz. But for the perfect gentleman's watch, for, this is for a business suit, for formal, for, every day at the job, depending on the kind of work you do. This is a great watch. Now, the caliber is a 3120, which is the same as the Royal Oak. Recently, we were looking at some sports watches, and we're looking at the Royal Oak, and this is exactly the same caliber that's in the Royal Oak. So it's one that Audemars Piguet likes to use a lot. All right, now these are fairly pricey. They're more likely, in fact, I think all of them are out of noble metals, either gold or platinum. So trying to find one that was something like, recently we reviewed a collection, and Jim had this wonderful Audemars Piguet in it, and it was a Jules Audemars. Now, I found this isn't the same one that Jim had, but this is a nice one. They're still pretty pricey. This thing was almost $17,000. And this was from, I found this was Condition Zero. This is brand new. And it's a dual time. And the price for a gold dual time isn't bad. Audemars Piguet doesn't have an exhibition window in the back. It's 41 millimeters, a size I like. And it's interesting because the base on the caliber is 2329/2846. Which is the base caliber is Jaeger-LeCoultre 889. So one of the things, there's a lot of things that in-house or not in-house. And I think one of the things, and perhaps a better question, is that it is at the same level. I mean, we're dealing with high horology here. You have a high horology watch, and you have a high horology movement in it. Now, if it had an ETA or something like that, or Miyota, then it wouldn't be up there. This one is really a nice watch. I like the way that it's set up with the small dial at 6 o'clock, has the second time zone, and then right next to it is a little night and day indicator. The other small dial at about 2 o'clock is the monthly, and then it has a power reserve indicator over at 10 o'clock. Neat watch. Like I said, though, it is a bit pricey, and that's the way it is sometimes. All right, you can look around and find something. Like I said, this is Condition Zero. You might find something on the used market. You might find pre-owned. You can probably find a lot better deals on the Jules Audemars, but they tend to be a little pricier. Okay. Now, the final one, Audemars Piguet doesn't make anymore, and it's called the Edward Piguet. There used to be a lot of them around, but they're not anymore. They're hard to find. Now, the ones that I found, this particular one I found for sale, is a pretty good deal. It's 6,032. I think it's white gold. I'm not positive on that one. But you can find different kinds of Edward Piguet. Now, this one has the 2140 movement in it, which was the same as we saw in that pre-owned Millenary that we looked at just a second ago. And Some of the other ones are a little more complex. Like there's a chronograph. Now the chronograph has a caliber 2385 in it with a Frederick Piguet 1185 base. Again, you find, and some of these older ones, and these are early 2000, 1990s is what I was able to find these in. Here's some more from Edward Piguet models. I simply put those up there. They very hard to find the prices on these in terms of even pre-owned. But you can find them out there, and you go and look. Some of them are just crazy expensive, in the $100,000 and above, like the Tourbillon. I mean, they have the Edward Piguet, but it was a model that just went nowhere. Two things happened. One, once a Royal Oak was introduced, it took off like a rocket to the moon, and everyone loved that one. And then they introduced the Offshore, and that too was very successful. And the Jules Audemars and the Edward Piguet and the Millenary just that wasn't where the action was. And so Audemars Piguet, being an independent, wanted to stay in business, and so they started making a lot more Royal Oaks. By the way, too, there are a lot of videos and a lot of information on Royal Oak. There's not a lot on these, and so this was something, well, I could maybe add something a little to it. By the way, I've been wearing my FP Journe Resonance, Chronomet Resonance today. There it is. All right. Well, listen, this was I thought this was sort of a little tour into sides where you may not have looked before. And I think it's important to look at these things because you can find really good watches at some very good prices. Not always. Finding a really good deal on the Jules Audemars is a little rough, but you can find them. And so it's just something to keep an eye out for. Some of the Millenary is not a bad little watch. And again, trying to find a good one for it. All right. Well, listen, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And as always, this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. And until Sunday, this is Bill Sanders with Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.